Because I do tend to look at the future of money and economics quite a lot. I'm quite interested in new ideas that are being framed around how we value properties and cities and all the rest of it. And one of these new old ideas that's coming around once again, getting airtime at the moment, is the idea of Georgism. So Georgism is the idea that all wealth in society comes from land. And this, of course, is something that's very close to political hotspots and sore touch points in South African political history. The land question has always been a big issue in our societies. And of course, we know this. We know that land gets value because of what's around it and because of natural endowments, not just because of what we build on top of it. And there is, of course, resentment when it comes to things like inequality, that landowners or renter land or rentier kind of landlords could be exploiting the more landless classes. And then, of course, land ownership is a very important thing. So anyway, the Georgist idea is that we actually tax land from landowners at a much higher rate rather than taxing things like income or capital gains or anything else, because the inference is that the value of all those other things actually comes from who has control over those natural resource endowments that are actually endowments for the entire common good. In other words, instead of saying we have to expropriate all the land and put it in the hands of the state, which is, of course, the more socialist way to deal with this sort of problem, or instead of allowing the land owning class to extract as much capitalist sort of rents and seek rents in those spaces, which is, of course, the capitalist way of sort of solving the land rights and property rights question. Neither of those views are particularly satisfying for people. The George's solution says instead, private people can own natural endowments and lands. And because of that, of course, it incentivizes people to build things like housing, which are all good for society. But instead, those landowners shouldn't be able to hold on to all the value of that land. Instead, in fact, the entire basically rent seeking portion of rents that property owners are able to sort of pass on to their tenants and to society at large should be taxed so that the entire society can actually benefit from that natural resource endowment. And for examples that are sort of more global scale, Norway's done this quite successfully with their natural oil endowments, in that they heavily tax capitalist entities who are allowed to extract the oil and sell it, but the vast majority of their profits go back to the people who actually should be the natural recipients of the endowments of that land, which is a very interesting concept to talk about, particularly in the South African context when it comes to land rights, property rights, and how we fund societal development going forward.